Sophie Rain, a 20-year-old influencer with over 5 million Instagram followers, recently announced that she earned $43.5 million in 2024, primarily through the adult content platform OnlyFans.
You are aware that, like, you're the final boss when it comes to OF, right?
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm. And I know you saw the clip of Julia making $400,000 a month, so I just need to know, like, how much are you making a month?
I don't know if I don't really want to hurt your feelings. I just don't.
Hurt my feelings? What do you mean?
I don't want to say.
You don't have to say, just show me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I won't break your phone. I actually, like, kind of tearing up. $4 million? $4 million in a month?
Yeah.
400,000 in the last 7 days.
Adam 22, the host of the No Jumper podcast, called Sophie Rain a liar regarding her claim of earning $43 million. Adam 22 has been involved in various controversies, including discussions about his wife's career in the adult industry and past allegations of sexual misconduct. He is also very well known in the OnlyFans space, as him and his wife have their own podcast called Plug Talk. The show features interviews with adult film stars, followed by explicit content involving the hosts and their guests. Episodes are available on platforms like YouTube and OnlyFans. Adam responds to the news about Sophie Rain, saying, "If you believe this, you are literally stupid." He goes on to say, Ruby Rose, another OnlyFans model, makes less than $1 million a month. I know what a lot of the top porn stars make, and it's all less than $1 million a month, mostly a couple $100K a month. There's no way this girl makes $4 million a month, especially given that she doesn't do real porn that can be sold for additional money in the DMs. She probably make a lot, but not $4 million. From my research, Sophie Rain is reportedly making nearly $650,000 per month. This impressive income translates to approximately $7.8 million annually, not $43 million as some rumors suggest. Although I guess it is not rumors after all, as Sophie Rain posted her yearly earnings, and it definitely says she earned $43 million. I am no Photoshop expert and definitely not well seasoned in the OnlyFans field, so I can't tell if it's real or not. She even followed up with more monthly reports stating, "I heard more proof was needed." The substantial income generated from adult content on OnlyFans has raised concerns about societal values and the platform's influence. Critics argue that such earnings reflect a troubling trend in monetizing explicit content, while others view it as a legitimate avenue for financial success. Additionally, Sophie Rain has highlighted issues with impersonation and unauthorized use of her images, including AI-generated content, leading to scams and misunderstandings among her followers. She expressed frustration over fake accounts and the misuse of her likeness, which has complicated her interactions with fans. The public's reaction to Sophie Rain's earnings underscores the complex and often contentious discussions surrounding online adult content, digital identity, and the ethics of income generation in the digital age. Adam 22 wasn't the only one with something to say. Another OnlyFans model took a shot at Sophie as well, stating, "I've been seeing discourse about that girl making $43 million on OnlyFans, but can I open up a can of worms here? Can we talk about how race and ethnicity play a huge part in your income? I'm very grateful for what I make, but can we start being honest about that?" Sophie replied, saying, "There are plenty of girls on OnlyFans that aren't white making millions. At the end of the day, it all comes down to how you're marketing yourself more than anything." According to Total Pro Sports, Sophie Rain's reported earnings of $43.5 million in 2024 from OnlyFans have indeed surpassed the annual incomes of many professionals, including top athletes and medical doctors. Comparison with athletes, Harry Kane, the England football captain, reportedly earned around 20.8 million euros in 2024, which is over 10 million less than Sophie Rain's earnings. Also, NFL and NBA players earn less than Sophie as well. Sophie Rain's income exceeds the combined salaries of several prominent NFL players. For instance, the combined salaries of Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, Christian Gonzalez, Brock Purdy, Garrett Wilson, Trey McBride, and Derrick Henry amounted to $8 million less than her earnings in the same year. What's even more surprising, she doesn't even rely heavily on explicit content. Her success story has ignited a heated discussion about lust, value, and the psychology behind why millions of men are willing to pay for content of a clothed woman when there is a free hub of content on other platforms. Here's an interesting twist. When people pay for something, they often perceive it as inherently more valuable. This phenomenon, known as the price-quality heuristic, explains why some men are willing to spend money on OnlyFans content, even when free alternatives exist. The act of paying, it seems, enhances the overall experience. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. On one hand, platforms like OnlyFans reveal the shifting priorities in how people seek connection and gratification. On the other, they also highlight an unsettling truth about the commodification of human interaction. For some, this phenomenon may seem odd or even excessive, especially when millions turn to free platforms like P-Hub, but for others, it underscores a deeper desire for belonging, validation, and attention, human needs that have found a lucrative home in the digital age. So is this simply a modern twist on age-old desires, or does it represent something more profound about our evolving relationship with technology and intimacy? That's for you to decide. A lot lot of OnlyFans models seem to hit a wall of regret after a while. It will be interesting to see a lot of the OnlyFans models' stance on this in the future, when they have kids or if they struggle to find a husband after staining their image. Will the money be worth it?
Since I've started this, has just slowly been on such a decline. I feel a little bit dead inside. I feel completely desensitized. Not to sound funny, but I really don't feel any type of desire or attraction to men in general anymore. Just know that if you are a person who's ever been interested in doing this, there really are so many downsides at this point, and I'm willing to admit this now. There's no amount of money that you can give me right now to make me feel like giving myself away in certain aspects, even if they're just a few photos or whatever online. It almost isn't worth it anymore. And while I did have such a strong start and it was so much fun in the beginning, after getting burnt out, I started to just feel really differently about the types of messages that I was getting. Seriously, if I had any type of ability to share the things that people have said, just how disgusting they are. And also when I get curious and nosy sometimes, I'll go look at their profile and they have a whole girlfriend or a whole wife, and sometimes even disgustingly enough they have kids. It makes me feel so conflicted with doing this when I really sit down to think about what the purpose of all this is.
This is for girls who are considering starting OF. I've been doing it for the last 2 years, and I just think social media glamorizes it so much, and nobody talks about the reality of what it actually is, and somebody needs to. You might even have friends that are encouraging you to do it right now, but later on down the road, when they get in a serious relationship or married or start having kids, they aren't going to want a girl who does porn around their family. And there are far and few between that are okay with it. I'm not excluding everyone, but our generation likes to act like we've accepted everything, and we haven't. And I'm not pushing for exception. I just want to make you guys aware of how lonely of a job this truly is, because you will lose friends and family. So much so that OF agencies create these group content get-togethers, which, yes, you're making content, but it is also said up front even that they're encouraging you to make girlfriends amongst each other, because you are going to have a very hard time making girlfriends outside of that. And as far as, guy friend groups and stuff, you're not going to be called by your name anymore. You're the girl who does OF, and that might sound really cool at first, she's bad, but a year or two and that wears off pretty quick. And as far as your, self-respect having a price, it does pay good, but a few more years and you're going to want your self-respect back. And it is just a shortcut that takes more than it gives, because no matter how loyal of a person you are, how honest or loving or kind or sweet you are, you're going to be judged off of the fact that you did do OF, and you can't get it back. You can't get it down. It's on the internet. It is what it is. And you're just, at some point, you're going to want your self-respect back. You really will. And you're going to want to get married or have kids, and explaining that to somebody what you did is so much harder than you think it will be, and most people aren't okay with it. And if they are, is that really a man of value?
To all the young women watching, you are not most likely going to be an OnlyFans millionaire, as many of these young women will tell you on the internet that you are going to be. The majority of people are not making anywhere near the kinds of money that these women are talking about on TikTok and Instagram. So they entice you and they bring you in, and you go, you know what, it's just one set of photos, why not do it? And we'll charge $12.99 a month or whatever it is that you charge, and the money doesn't come in like it came in for these women. So now you have this trade-off of your pictures are now on the internet for all of eternity, and you left that, footprint, that digital footprint there, and you didn't get the return that you expected. So now you either go deeper down the rabbit hole of posting more and more content and trying to create to make up for what you've lost, or you live with the fact that the digital footprint has your naked body on it.
As we close tonight's feature, we leave you with this question. Is OnlyFans merely a product of the times, a platform empowering creators to take control of their income? Or is it a harbinger of societal shifts that will redefine how we value connection, intimacy, and self-worth in the digital age? Some argue that platforms like OnlyFans are enabling individuals to break free from traditional economic systems, carving out opportunities where there were none before. Others caution that it might be normalizing a culture of instant gratification and transactional relationships, potentially altering the aspirations and values of the next generation. Will OnlyFans destroy the next generation, as critics warn, or has the shift already happened, quietly reshaping our world while we watched from the sidelines? This is not just a question about money or morality, it's a deeper reflection of the society we're building. One thing is certain, what happens next will be shaped not just by—
All right, so let's dive into something that's been kind of blowing up online.
Okay.
The world of OnlyFans and the money that people are saying they're making.
Right.
We've got a YouTube video analysis for this one.
Okay.
Some spicy social media posts.
Ugh.
Even some sports salary comparisons to kind of unpack here.
Interesting.
So get ready for a wild ride.
All right, I'm ready.
You ready to go deep?
Let's go deep.
Okay, so this whole story, it kind of revolves around this influencer, Sophie Rain.
Okay.
She claims to have earned like a mind-blowing $43.5 million in 2024
Wow.
from OnlyFans alone.
That's a lot.
And she's even like shared screenshots showing
Yeah.
monthly earnings of $4 million. And get this, $400,000 in just 7 days.
It's pretty wild.
I know.
Those are some huge numbers.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but not everyone's buying it.
Really?
Yeah. So Adam 22,
Okay.
the host of the No Jumper podcast. You familiar with that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a podcast that dives into like internet culture and the adult industry.
Okay.
He has been extremely vocal about his doubts.
Interesting.
He's literally calling people who believe these numbers stupid.
Oh, wow.
And he claims that even the top OnlyFans models and porn stars rarely make more than $1 million a month. He specifically pointed to Ruby Rose
Oh, right.
as kind of an example
Yeah.
to illustrate this.
Okay, so he's saying, like, even the big names aren't making that much.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
And, you know, he does say that, like, she probably makes a lot of money,
Right.
but just not $4 million a month.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's interesting to get his perspective, though, because he's, like, so connected to that world.
Right, he's like an insider.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows.
Exactly. And it raises the question of, like, how do we verify information online?
Right.
Especially with earnings and stuff.
Yeah, because it's so easy to fake things.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we have some independent research
Oh, good.
that can maybe shed some light on this situation.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this research estimates that her actual monthly income is around $650,000,
Okay.
which adds up to still a very impressive $7.8 million annually.
Yeah, that's still,
It's a lot of money.
it's a ton of money.
Yeah, but still a pretty big difference
Like
from the $43.5 million.
Huge difference.
And even this research acknowledges the difficulty in verifying the authenticity of the earnings.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
So it's like we might never know for sure.
Yeah, it really is the Wild West of information out there.
Yeah, you've got to be careful what you believe.
You really do.
Yeah.
And this story takes on like even more layers when we consider the social dynamics at play.
Right.
So another OnlyFans model,
Okay.
she chimed in on this conversation,
Okay.
and she was suggesting that race and ethnicity
Mm-hmm.
could actually be influencing income on the platform. Yeah, she said she makes good money, but she thinks race is likely playing a part.
Wow.
Yeah, and calling for like more honesty about this factor.
That's a good point.
It is.
Like we should be talking about these things.
We should.
Yeah.
And Sophie Rain, she didn't shy away from the conversation.
Oh, really?
No, she countered by saying that plenty of non-white OnlyFans models are making millions, and she attributes it to effective marketing strategies.
Okay, so she's saying it's more about like business skills.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
So to really kind of get a grasp of the scale of these earnings, let's compare them to some other professions.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Hit me.
Okay, so Harry Kane, the captain of the England football team, earned over $10 million less
Wow.
than Sophie Rain supposedly did in 2024.
That's insane.
And her alleged income surpasses the combined salaries of several top NFL players.
Dang, that's crazy.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
It really makes you think about what we value as a society.
Yeah.
It really does.
How those values are kind of evolving in the digital age.
Totally.
But I'm curious, like, why are people willing to shell out money for content that's often available for free elsewhere?
That's a great question.
Right.
Right.
Like, what's the appeal?
Like, why pay when you can get it for free?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't get it.
Well, that's where this idea of lust value comes in.
Lust value.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's not just about the content itself. It's
Yeah.
about the perceived value associated with paying for something.
Okay.
It's kind of like this psychological thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it taps into like these things called heuristics.
Heuristics?
Yeah, you know, like mental shortcuts our brains use
Okay.
to make decisions.
Right.
So one of these is called the price quality heuristic. And basically it means people tend to perceive higher priced items as higher quality.
Oh, so like we think if it costs more, it must be better.
Exactly.
Makes sense. So this can actually enhance the experience for people.
Oh, wow. So they're like paying for a better experience,
Right.
even though the content might be the same.
Exactly.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So it's about exclusivity,
Yeah,
the
definitely.
perceived connection,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even a little bit of a power dynamic.
You got it.
Mm.
And think about it this way.
Yeah.
Paying for content, even if it's readily available for free, it creates a sense of personal investment
Oh, okay.
and special access.
Right.
which can really amplify the appeal.
I see. So it's like you're part of a special club.
Kinda.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And it also speaks to a deeper need
Okay.
for connection and validation,
Right.
which is often magnified in the online world.
Makes sense.
And it's not just limited to adult content either.
Oh, really?
No, we see it everywhere, like with subscription services,
Okay.
exclusive memberships, personalized experiences,
Oh, yeah?
all across different online platforms.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it's like this human need to feel like we belong.
And we're special.
Exactly. And these platforms are tapping into that.
In new and innovative ways.
For sure.
It's fascinating.
It is.
But while lust value might explain the appeal,
Right.
we can't ignore the potential downsides
Oh,
to
absolutely.
this industry.
There's definitely another side to this.
Right.
We have to
There's
be-
definitely another side to this
For sure.
when we start looking at the human stories.
Right. The actual people
Yeah. Behind the content.
involved.
Right.
Yeah.
We came across these like really powerful testimonials
Oh, wow.
from OnlyFans models
Okay.
who opened up about the emotional toll of this work.
Mm-hmm.
The loneliness,
Yeah.
the impact it had on their relationships.
It gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One model even described feeling dead inside,
Oh, wow.
like completely desensitized.
To men.
Yeah.
It's a pretty heavy statement.
Yeah, it is. You know, and it really highlights that potential psychological impact
For sure.
of this kind of work.
You know, it's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of it all,
Yeah.
the glamour.
Mm-hmm.
But these stories,
Right.
they reveal a much more complex reality.
Yeah, and a lot of times like a really difficult one.
Right. Yeah.
And there was this recurring theme of isolation.
Really?
Yeah, so one model she talked about
Yeah.
how she was no longer called by her name, only recognized as the girl who does OnlyFans.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that kind of reduction to an online persona
Yeah.
can really mess with your sense of self.
Absolutely.
No.
It's dehumanizing almost.
Right, like
Yeah.
reducing someone to their content.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes you think about how these platforms are
Sure.
shaping our perception.
Intimacy.
Yeah.
Human connection.
It's blurring the lines between the virtual and the real.
Totally.
And another point that came up was the unrealistic expectations
Oh, yeah.
set by social media.
That makes sense.
You know, a lot of the models warned that most people aren't making millions
Right.
and that they could even end up with their content circulating online without the financial reward
Yeah.
that they were hoping for.
So it's a gamble, basically.
It's a huge gamble.
Wow.
This is where things got really interesting.
Okay.
One model described how OnlyFans agencies actually encourage models to form friendships with each other
Oh, wow.
because they acknowledge
Okay.
that they might struggle to maintain relationships
Right.
outside of that circle.
With like regular people.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
It is. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And she went on to talk about how hard it is
Yeah.
to find a partner
Mm-hmm.
who accepts her past,
Oh,
saying most people aren't okay with it.
yeah, I can imagine.
You know, and she even questioned whether settling for someone who is okay with it
Right.
means compromising her respect.
That's a tough question.
It is. It's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
you know? So with platforms like OnlyFans
Mm-hmm.
becoming so popular,
Right.
it feels like we're at a crossroads.
In a way, yeah.
What kind of impact is this going to have on society in the long run?
It's a big question.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, are these platforms empowering creators?
Mm-hmm.
You know, giving